Hello and welcome again to Agatha Christie They Watched. This is Bill Peschel.
And I'm Teresa Peschel, and I'm going to ask because I always ask, and I will probably ask forever. Did you press both buttons so that people can hear us and see us?
And the answer to that is yes. Answer to that is yes, because it says end broadcast right there. Stop streaming, stop recording, and we have 0 views, and we're excellent. So YouTube loves us, and they'll throw us buckets
And
of money.
we're talking to crickets, an audience of crickets again, but that's okay.
But they'll come in time. So here we are, and we are talking about black coffee.
Yes, and for those of you who have not read it or have never seen the play, you're going to have a hard time watching the play unless your local community theater does it, and you're going to have a hard time, unless you like reading plays. So what you want to do is look for Charles Osborne's novelization of Black Coffee, and mysteriously, this film has never been this property, I should use the right words. This intellectual property of Agatha's has never been filmed in English. I have no idea why. It is the only Poirot property, to my knowledge, that has not been filmed in English, and the David Suchet gang did not do this play. Maybe they couldn't get the rights, who knows? And that's all water under the bridge now anyway. But this is the play that Agatha wrote in 1930 after she watched Michael Morton's version of Alibi, in which Michael Morton took the murder of Roger Ackroyd, and I have never seen this play. But he took the novel, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and he rewrote it extensively for the stage, including radically altering Caroline Shepard's character, and Agatha did not like what she saw. Now, you will see various people telling you that Black Coffee is the first play she ever wrote. That's not true. She wrote numerous plays starting as a teenager, and look for Julius Green's book, Curtain Up, and it will go into great detail. Black Coffee is the first play she had officially produced on stage. She wrote it, I think, I don't know. I'm sure that Dr. Mark Aldridge or Dr. John Curran know, but I think that she wrote Black Coffee as a response to what Michael Morton did to the murder of Roger Ackroyd. It is the only play that she ever wrote in which she put Poirot, and she could, as the playwright, she could control what Poirot said. She had control over what scenes he was in. She had control over when he came on stage. Correct me on my language. She had a fair amount of control. But what she did not have, which she discovered when she watched Black Coffee on stage with Francis L. Sullivan, what she did not have was control over casting. And she liked Francis Sullivan's portrayal, but he wasn't Poirot. And the Italian version of Black Coffee shows you exactly what she was up against. And you have a lovely scene, I'm sure you have an image there that you saved of Hastings and Poirot together. And Hastings, or Poirot towers over Hastings. Oh, do you have...
That's hard to say. I don't think I have one of them
Okay,
together,
that's Poirot.
except for them.
And that's Hastings.
You know, we have the fun scene in which Barbara is there.
Yes, and okay, so you look at this. That's Poirot towering over Hastings, who is then towered over by Barbara. And this was a casting director's choice. And this is something that Agatha had no control over. And after she saw Francis Sullivan, and again, I don't know, I'm speculating, but after she saw Francis Sullivan's performance in Black Coffee, she never wrote another Poirot play again. And when she transformed a Poirot novel for the stage, she wrote him out. And I am sure that they are related because you can look at the timeline and it flows so well.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are looking for a modern equivalent, if you are a Lee Child fan, Tom Cruise made a couple of movies with as Jack Reacher. I've never seen them because I've never read Lee Child and I have no interest in reading Lee Child. But anyway, Jack Reacher is supposed to be this 6'5" monster. And so there's Tom Cruise. And the new TV show found, there's Tom Cruise and there's the other guy whose name I don't know. And you see which one embodies more the physicality of Jack Reacher. And Tom Cruise, everybody knows who he is, and he's a great actor, and he does wonderful movies, and he does wonderful stunts, and all of that kind of thing. But sometimes if a character has a very specific physical description, like Poirot, about 5'4", and he's the smartest, best dressed man in the room, but he is short, he is small. Other people tower over him. If you really make and Jack Reacher, if you make a point of saying this is a guy that bouncers step away from when he walks through the room, the casting really matters.
And this is what Hollywood does, because the movie probably wouldn't have been made unless Tom Cruise said, I want to make this, in which case they say,
okay.
Well, they're not going to say, we need to recast that Reacher part because you don't fit it. They're not going to tell Tom Cruise that.
Yeah, they did not. They did not tell Tom
and they
Cruise
made
that.
2 movies out of it as well, and they're probably pretty good. But
as long as you don't know who Jack Reacher is. And that's the thing with the 3 versions of Black Coffee we've seen, particularly this one. If you don't know that's supposed to be Poirot and Hastings and everything about them, you'll enjoy it a lot more, because it won't look so odd. And bring up that sequence with Barbara. This is Barbara, one of the characters, and she flirts all the way through this film with Hastings. I mean, look at that. It's just, he's trying to look down her dress.
Even though she can't, he's just looking at her.
He's looking at her bosom.
He's just looking at her bosom as well. And you could imagine Agatha, if she was alive, seeing that and going, even though Hastings does have that Lothario reputation, he's always falling for some girls, especially if they have red hair. That's happened repeatedly in the books. But the way to see it expressed on stage, well, it just gave Agatha kittens.
And she did write in Black Coffee, she did write Barbara flirting madly with Hastings, and he wasn't unhappy about flirting with this pretty girl. He was not unhappy about it. And again, that's Hastings all over the, if you recall, because she wrote this in 1930, and in 1924 or so, she published Murder on the Links. And Hastings compromised the investigation of a murder to flirt with some girl. So this is totally in character for Hastings, but it looks wrong when you know, okay, the behavior is okay, but the actor isn't correct. And bring up that scene again, if you would. And both actors were perfectly capable of acting all the way through. Now think if you had switched actors. If you had made the tall guy with the carnation, who is supposed to be Poirot, put him in Hastings' suit and Hastings' wardrobe and hair, and then swapped the Hastings character, the Hastings actor, out for the tuxedo with the carnation, it would have a different feel.
Well, you also wouldn't have the joke of the height differential.
Oh my God.
So
all the way through.
You lose something when you make a decision like that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And they wanted, and I would guess that the Italian director and his casting director, they wanted to make that joke. They thought it was funny. And it is funny. It is very funny.
It's just so funny how Hastings overplays it, and you think, well, he's Italian. So that's what Italians do.
And it's so funny.
No boundary issues whatsoever.
This is a very English film, and Dr. Corelli, Lucia is from Italy, and Caroline, that's Lucia, and Caroline, her aunt, Richard's, Caroline would be Richard's aunt. And that's Caroline. And yeah, she looks, whoever that actress is, my God, but she looks like Meryl Streep. And every time you see her on stage, she looks like Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
And But there's also Dr. Corelli, who is Italian, and they make all of these Italian, the play has Italian stereotypes, oh, foreigners this and foreigners that. And again, Agatha wrote this in 1930, and everybody would have been nodding their head and say, oh yeah, Italians act that way. They're, their hands are all over the place, and they're oily, and they're overly enthusiastic, and they're full of life and vim and vigor and vivacity in a way that English people are not, and they would not be wrong.
Well,
and so you're watching a room full of Italian actors, and then talking about how English people are very staid and solemn, and Italians in the form of Dr. Corelli are, and it's just weird.
It is weird to see Italian actors pretending to be English talking crap about Italians. That's how it boiled down to. But
now I'm getting through the actual.
Are we getting to the plot of Black Coffee finally?
If you like, I can do that.
Yeah, you're only 10 minutes into this, so
if you like, I can do that. But anyway, with regards to the plot, they follow the play surprisingly closely. The film is about an hour and a half long. They follow the play surprisingly closely, with the exception of they did rewriting to remove Treadwell the butler completely. They did rewriting to remove Dr. Graham, the local doctor who is in love with Barbara, completely. And there are minor police characters, minor constables who are gone, and Lucia's Italian maid Vittoria is gone. So, and there was some rewriting to accommodate the necessary lines. So Poirot does not interview Treadwell the butler about what's been going on. He interviews Rayner, the secretary. But those lines were incorporated into the dialogue of the story pretty well, I thought. I mean, if you didn't know, you wouldn't notice that Treadwell is missing or that Dr. Graham is missing. You would not know. And so, of course, you also lose the scene with Barbara and Dr. Graham, but can't have everything.
Well, to just give a quick summary here, because this is about the head. This is one of those families in which the head of the household dominates everybody, like you would see in Crooked House, or
he controls them with money.
Controls them with money. He's not quite as evil as those other people are. That's Claude Amory. He's an inventor, and he's invented a new explosive that would rival the atomic bomb. And the formula is written down on a piece of paper, and the formula has been stolen, and he's called in Poirot, who's expected at any moment. He does the scene in which there's he tells the family, he locks all the windows and doors and says, I'm going to turn out the lights and put remember, this all has to be done on stage, so it all has to be very compressed
and artificial.
And he says, I'm going to turn out the lights. If you put the formula on the table, I'll send Poirot away, and
we'll pretend this didn't happen.
And I wonder, I didn't get that in. Darn it. I mean, I knew I forgot something, but anyway, the point though is that the lights go up. He's dead in his chair. The formula, there's an envelope on the table, and it turns out to be empty.
Yes, because Poirot, when the lights come back up, Poirot comes on stage with Hastings, winking and joking, and Poirot takes charge immediately, as you would expect him to do. And just right out of the play, he comments about, when Richard Amory comes up to him, because they've already discovered that Claude Amory is dead. Richard Amory comes up to him and says, it's not necessary anymore. And as you can see, the formula's been replaced. And Poirot points out, A, your dad's dead. B, that envelope is empty, and I can see it's empty from here. He doesn't say it like that, but Poirot, being naturally suspicious, figures this out pretty quickly, that there is a real crime scene in front of him, and he takes over. And they did a lot of things really well. I'm thinking in particular at the climax, and this version, unlike the others, actually gives you the real ending, where Poirot hands the formula to Richard and Lucia, and Richard and Lucia discuss what they are going to do with this incredibly valuable formula that is going to lead directly to the deaths of not hundreds of people at a time, but thousands of people at a time, because Claude Amory spells out in words of one syllable that, hey, it's for science, and it doesn't really matter what I do because it's science. And if it ends up in hundreds and thousands of deaths, it's not my responsibility. I'm just the scientist exploring science. But anyway, they let Lucia take the formula and burn it because the money doesn't matter to her as much as not having thousands of deaths on her conscience. You know, if they sold this formula, it would not go into some army warehouse in Kansas right next to the Ark of the Covenant. It would not. It would instead go immediately to
development and possible use.
Developmental and operational testing, and yes, you would end up seeing it in use on the battlefield. And remember again, and I'm just thinking of this now, but when Agatha wrote this in 1930, the characters in the play refer to the war. They mean the Great War, and it had only been 10 years in 1930, and so that war was still fresh and raw in everyone who had lived through it in their memory. And so you could almost see her thinking as she wrote Lucia's character, she didn't want to see that. She didn't want to see thousands of people dying from an explosion instead of hundreds of people dying in an explosion, because why do you need more?
Yeah.
And she burns it. And this is the only version in which you see her burn it.
Yeah, this is the 1985 Italian television version, so the video quality is not very good.
It's terrible.
We have already seen the 73 West German TV version.
Immaculate.
And the 1932 French version, once thought lost.
Terrible quality.
But it's 3 years after the development of sound pictures as a commercial proposition. So, yeah, it definitely deserves restoration. Extensive restoration. So this is the last one of the three that we've seen. So that's why we can actually talk a lot about. We've learned quite a bit about the play in the last month or so.
Yeah, I mean, it had never even impinged on my consciousness until it turned out that what is his name? John Hisman. John Hisman. Thank you, John Hisman.
There's a link to his channel, his YouTube channel down below. He's revived a number of movies and TV episodes, and yes, they are run through an AI subtitler, but it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. And yes, the AI subtitling is weird. It is weird and lacking. It has the typical problems with pronouns.
Yep.
It has no his, her, you, she. It confuses them all consistently across the board. Terrible subtitling in terms of that. And the words will be wrong.
The words will be different.
At one point, Caroline says about her father that he had a drop attack, and you think, okay, what was that? Probably a heart attack. You'll see on screen, you'll see Poirot's name sometimes with a very weird spelling starting with the letter C. Hastings has probably 5 different name variants on screen. But if you want to watch this film, John Hisman, his YouTube channel, is the only place you're going to get it.
And there's a link in the description below.
Yeah. And I think it is worth, if you are an Agatha Christie fan or a completist, or you're interested in Poirot, to watch all 3 Black Coffees in order so that you can see how they are changed. It's really astonishing. The West German one had all the characters in it, and yet they cut large scenes. This one cut some of the characters, and yet you get longer scenes, such as you get Carolyn and Dr. Corelli with the ball of yarn, which is actually rather amusing. She is boring him to tears, and she tosses the ball of yarn. She hands it back over to her, and see, there it is. He had a drop attack. We had to call a nurse. And he does not want to be there. He wants her to get out of the room so he can make his secret phone call. And, you know, again, it's an amusing scene, just like there are amusing scenes with Barbara and Hastings. Barbara with talking about the alcohol that, oh my God, we need to be drinking Satan's tail, which was what, brandy and cream de menthe?
Half brandy, half cream, and a dash of red
cream de menthe.
Cream de menthe?
Yes.
Oh, God, it's even worse.
Cream de menthe, and then sprinkle it with cayenne pepper on top. And
one drink puts you under the table, 2 drinks put you under the host. Dorothy Parker.
I guess it puts you under the host if you're a gentleman guest too.
Fits those kinds of parties. It's Hollywood, baby.
I guess so. Okay. It's a fun play. It's a fun movie. You know, I could see Italian TV restoring this because it was kind of herky-jerky, and there were blurry sections where the film it's like you're seeing a clear film and a really blurry one spliced together, so it switched back and forth at random. But they covered most of the material in the play, and I really, after we've seen these 3 versions, I would really like to see the play done as it was written by Agatha, not edited out, not changed around, not poorly cast, where you look at when Hastings and Poirot come on stage and you're sure you know which one is which, and you will be wrong. And boy, does this say the David Suchet Poirot TV series should have adapted this, and I guess they didn't get the rights, or they didn't think of it. I don't know.
They had a lot on their table
They had
already.
a lot already to do.
And the way they did it with over the years, and there were years of interruptions, you can see there's no real long-term thinking in Hollywood. Metaphorically speaking, since we're talking about British television, you know, they never started out to say, well, let's do all the Poirot novels and short stories.
It just kind of happened.
It just kind of happened that way. They got a successful series out of it, another successful series. It started selling worldwide, and then for some reason they said, we're done.
We're done. And
after it's making so much money, what was
making
it?
buckets of
Peter
money.
Capaldi
Peter
mentioned?
Capaldi was in an early episode, and he mentioned specifically that I think until Doctor Who, he made more money in residuals off that one episode
he was
of Poirot that he was in than pretty much any other individual episode that he was in. The money just rolled in. And
it's like they didn't want to make money. They just wanted to create art.
I guess. I don't know. And I thought of something clever to say, and of course it's just like,
yeah.
It's like you should peel back the top of my head and look inside.
read the message. Yeah. But this is the same thing. There. Actually, you could do an international Agatha Christie channel because we've seen Japanese versions, Russian versions. They're available in times and places, and they're fascinating to watch. They really are.
And what's interesting about these 3, the French one goes the most off script, but the German one and the Italian one, despite how they compressed everything down, they fit into, let me find it here in my book, the International Agatha Christie she watched. And when we update this book in 10 years, you're going to get reviews of Black Coffee, which we do not have right now, because of course we didn't have it for the book, but I'm looking for it.
We just stop a moment for a plug about the Agatha Christie she watched. We have 2 versions of it, the international version
I have to cut
and the regular version.
I have to cut pages in here.
And,
oh, here it is. Yes. Faithful to the text. It's category 1 for Agatha Christie. These films keep the setting, date, names, everything. The only thing not making them quintessentially English is the characters speak Russian or a Japanese anime, or in this case, Italian. They're speaking Italian or they're speaking German. But they are following the text. They are following the text. And I'm going to have to get your penknife and cut the leaves in this. Obviously I'm not going to do that on stage. But they're interesting to watch. All 3 of them are interesting to watch, to see what was changed. And remember, this was a stage play, not a novel. And stage plays, correct me if I'm wrong, stage plays should be easy to translate to the screen, because you already have a fairly limited cast, you already have a fairly limited setting, and it's written to be acted.
Yeah, and that's what the challenge of movies are, is to take something like take the Les Miserables, the musical, and in order to put it on the screen, they had to do call what they call open up the play, which means you put in more scenes, you put in more locations, because otherwise, in one place, as if you saw any of these they're fairly static because you've only got one big room, and that's great for
A stage
stage
play.
play, but for TV, you want it to be more dynamic.
But the thing with a stage play as opposed to a novel is the stage play is already pared down.
Mhm.
Because
It's already, yeah.
Les Miserables wasn't that was a Victor Hugo novel, yes?
Yeah, that was a
Okay, so it was
huge, huge.
some monster book, just about 10,000 pages or something like that, and all in highfalutin French. And then what do you remove to put it on stage, and what do you add back in to put it in the movies? But a play like Black Coffee is already ready to go. You may spread out a little bit, because you can have a scene where Poirot is at the train station, or you can actually go out into the garden with Barbara and Hastings when they're out there frolicking in the underneath the cedar trees. You can do that, but it's already ready to go. You don't have to do mega changes.
Mhm,
So it was. I liked it. I liked it. I would have liked it better if it was better film stock, but there's nothing you can do about that.
mhm.
But I liked
Well,
it.
we've seen some of the other
They included
plays.
so much of the play.
Yeah, and we've seen other plays. We remember Spider's Web. It's a movie. It was based on an Agatha Christie play. Basically, it's like Weekend at Bernie's, Agatha
Yes.
Christie style. And it was a charming, I think, 1961. You can find it on YouTube.
Oh yes, with Glynis Johns, and we
Glynis
will get
John.
to Spiderweb in probably about a year from now because that's a long way off.
Yeah.
She did that in the late 40s or early 50s, but that's been filmed twice in English.
Hmm.
It's been filmed numerous times in other languages, but we have not seen them. The Unexpected Guest. There's another one that has never been filmed in English, but boy, it's a popular property, and it's been filmed in a lot of other languages. And depending on the presentation, they open it up for a movie or they keep it kind of closed.
Hmm.
Um,
They did a really good job on the Indian version that we saw.
which one?
It was the first time. It was one of the first. It's not Gunam. It's
Mist.
Mist, called Mist.
Oh, that was
And yeah,
excellent.
that was amazing
That was
because they
excellent.
filmed. It's an Indian movie, and they opened it up so that you saw dancing girls and you saw the police station. You saw outside. You saw the most amazing golf course I've ever
Yes.
seen because they have to in India. They'll do
But-
it the way they did it in India for various reasons.
But getting back to Italy, this is actually one of 3 Italian films that we have actually seen. There are other Italian Agatha Christie adaptations, but we have not.
Let's see. Go Back for Murder.
Yeah, Go Back for Murder,
Which is the stage version of Five Little Pigs.
where Agatha
without
wrote out Poirot.
Poirot. Yep. And let's see, what was the other one?
$5 for an August Moon.
Oh God.
Jiminy Crickets!
Oh, that was, yes, that was, oh, let's see, that was because that was 10 Little Indians, and it's done by this director who is apparently very amazing. And I don't think we had it we didn't have it in, no, that's India, unknown.
There, Italy, $5 for an August Moon, Go Back for Murder, The Unexpected Guest, there it is, The Hollow, The Spider's Web, 0 Hour, which is Toward Zero, and Black Coffee. So in Italy, these are just the ones we know about. So in Italy, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Italian films, and they, I can now say that you can expect really high-end clothes in Italian films. Very great setting. They really make it everybody look.
It was like 1970 or so, so it was Italian decor for the time. And
that was for $5.
Yeah,
oh, yes.
$5 for
but
an August Moon.
even Go Back for Murder looked pretty good.
Mario Brava, I think that's the director, and apparently he's a very noted cult director of horror movies.
Oh, I can look him up. And you wonder what he would do with
there it is.
There it is, $5.
Yeah.
There it is, $5. And it's directed by
Yeah,
Mario Bava.
Mario, yes,
Mario
memory
Bava,
works.
not Brava. Mario Bava.
Mario Bava. But the point, though, is that he's like one of those directors where if you're like Quentin Tarantino, you're going to say, he did that? Wow, let me just tell you about it for an hour and a half.
Which we will do when we get to when we finally work our way up to,
maybe
and
not
then
so
there were
excited.
none.
But that's what's fun about international films is you get to see people who are famous in their own country, who are noted and respected, and they're doing an Agatha Christie, and it's like, wow, this too.
Again, when we get to and then there were none. When we get to Gumnam, the biggest Indian comedian in the world stands up, and you have no idea who, and we had no idea who he was, but everybody in India. But anyway, back to Black Coffee. Yes.
Is there anything more to say about Black Coffee?
I think I really wish that somebody would film the play in English. And if you have a chance, if your local community theater puts it on, you should go see it. You absolutely should go see it, because this is going to be one of your only chance to see Agatha's Poirot on stage the way she wrote it.
Yeah.
Because a couple weeks ago we saw Murder at the Vicarage, the German presentation, and that was the stage play written by Barbara Toy and Moy Charles, and boy did they rewrite Miss Marple. They rewrote that
it had
entire
a thriller
thing.
ending, which you would not expect.
It was
Miss Marple held at gunpoint.
Well, yes, and it was all told from the vicar's point of view, which is the way the novel was written, you know, but it was so different. And when a playwright other than Agatha takes one of her characters, they turn it around completely. They make all kinds of changes. If you watch the David Suchet Mrs. McGinty's Dead, you will see how she felt about this. There's a wonderful scene, and I am sure that it is taken from her own autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
But Black Coffee is what she wrote. So if you have a chance to see a local community theater presentation, you should go. Absolutely, you should go. Right. And in the meantime, you have to satisfy yourself with an indifferent French version, a pretty good German version that was way too short and truncated, and then this bad film stock Italian one that is also pretty good and still truncated. But what can you do?
Right. So how would you rate it?
I would say for fidelity to text, this is like the German one. It is 4 poison bottles.
5.
And no, because they've removed some characters, but they did get most everything in there. They did, so maybe 4.5.
4.5 sounds good. And then movie on its own.
The film stock was really crappy,
and
the AI subtitling had serious issues. So I would say I would downgrade it to, say, a 3.5 to 4, but that's because of the film stock. Oh, you would give it a 4?
No, I would give it a 3, down to 3, because unless you know the play, it's going to be really hard to follow.
Okay, you're right. Okay, but yeah, the film stock is really poor, and the subtitling is better than nothing, because you would not have any idea what was going on if you didn't have it. But the subtitling often made it confusing if you don't know the play.
Yeah. All right, so what are we doing next time?
We are going to watch Miss Marple in the Sittaford mystery. And yes, you heard me correctly. ITV Marple inserted Miss Marple in all kinds of places where she never was. And this is our first opportunity. No, wait, we did see that because we watched the Secret of Chimneys, where they inserted Miss Marple where she was not supposed to be. And so here we are again, and with the Sittaford mystery, and that is Timothy Dalton. And for those of you who are not familiar with this film, but you are familiar with the Sittaford mystery, ITV's Marple hired Timothy Dalton to play Captain Trevelyan, a character who never says a single word on stage. He never comes on stage in the novel. And in fact, his first appearance is as a dead body. And so you think, how are you going to do this with Timothy Dalton? Well, you do this by completely rewriting the plot and inserting Miss Marple, and it is a train wreck, and we'll have fun. Yep.
So thank you so much.
See you next week.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell people about us. We would really like to grow the channel, and you can follow us on Instagram, and that would be great.
The Petrol Press website, we have all these books for sale, including the 6 books in the Christie collection.
Oh, you remembered hard to do an ad.
I just have to insert a word in edgewise when you take a drink.
There is no alcohol in my tea.
That is true. There is hot honey, though. But anyway, thanks so much for your patience, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Agatha